Now that you know the truth, you must save Hyrule by doing one thing. Link, take the paraglider. Wait, seriously? I beg your pardon, is something the matter? No, it's just, is some dirty old rag really gonna be all that useful? Dirty old rag? Link, that paraglider has been passed down among the royal family of Hyrule from generation to generation. Okay, Boomer. If you think it's so pointless, I would like to see you try defeating Calamity Ganon without using it. Alright then, I will! No, Link, wait! I'm okay! We're so screwed. As you already know, I'm beating Breath of the Wild without gliding. But first, let's clear some things up. I am going to be gliding in this playthrough, but only either to reach a location I already got to without gliding, or to capture footage of something I did without gliding. This is, let's say, a super strict challenge to beat the game without using the paraglider, and more of an experiment to find out if it's possible. Oh yeah, and I also won't be looking up any exploits or glitches just because I want to find my own little tricks. But I know what you're thinking. Beating Breath of the Wild without gliding, huh? How you gonna beat the Great Plateau? Well, it was probably the hardest part of this playthrough, and I honestly didn't think I was gonna make it, but I just kept believing, and eventually... I did it! I beat the Great Plateau without gliding! I know, crazy, right? And with that challenge under our belt, it's finally time to start exploring Hyrule. Oh wait, just gotta... Yep. Do-do-do, okay, just wait, just... Any second now. Any second now. Yeah! And now that we're in Hyrule, we can finally get our first real shrine. Despite that disappointment, we've reached Kakariko Village, and now have access to a very specific point that lets us explore a huge amount of Central Hyrule and quite a few shrines. The only problem is, we can't glide. But I was only talking about using the paraglider, which technically means... I am the Lord of the Chickens! I can go anywhere! I can fly! This game is mine! And after that, I started to notice just how much you depend on gliding in this game. Like when completing the test of strength, for instance. Normally you'd use the subdraft to kill the Guardian, but we can't do that, so... The developers also play with your dependence on gliding at the Wasteland Tower, where doing so will literally kill you. But of course, that also means that when you're playing the game without gliding, you find solutions to these problems fairly quickly. And after capturing all those towers, it became even easier to find more shrines to... Next up is a color tower, which isn't really difficult, just time consuming. You don't even have to glide. Like I said, not difficult, just time consuming. I am gonna need at least 3 of these after... Huh. Oh, can I just... Yeah! But enough of that. You guys want to know if we can beat the main story like this? Well, let's take a look at Vah Medoh to find out. Or rather, we would if it weren't so easy to beat that it's not even worth showing. So I'm not gonna. So instead, let's look at Zora's domain. And this is where we hit our first real roadblock. After acquiring the Zora tunic, you're expected to swim up the waterfall to get to the reservoir. Only problem is, you can't swim up waterfalls without gliding, even if you spam B like crazy. And believe me, I would know. Which means the only way up is to Cryonis our way up. It took forever, but after ages and ages of jumping and climbing and jumping and climbing, I finally made it to the top. Wait. Oh no! Okay, I finally made it. But I never want to see a waterfall again. Okay, so I figured out we can shoot the weak points from the water with Cryonis. And with that, we can board Ruta. And surprisingly, this is where things get fun again. What happened to my hair? Not because there aren't sections where the game expects you to fly, but rather because it's enjoyable to find ways around them, however spiky they may be. Basically, the moral of this video is, if it works, we take it, and we don't ask questions. Ever. So after activating the first 2 terminals, I thought gliding was completely optional. Boy was I wrong. Once you lower Ruta's trunk, you can run across it, but not up it, because you're supposed to glide across. But after 20 minutes of definitely not running blindly, I noticed that we can stand on the other side of Ruta's trunk, then curl it back and make it to the top. But it just couldn't be that easy. There's one last ledge that you just barely can't run up. I swear, this is intentional. Seriously, Nintendo, I'm onto you. Now stop taunting me! So I tried running up diagonally. I tried running up without jumping. I even tried running with the bow in my hand. That one didn't work, surprisingly. So I thought of wearing the Sheikah gear and waiting until nighttime to get a speed boost. But while waiting, I thought I may as well try in the meantime. And maybe it's because I changed clothes, unequipped my weapons, or it was just because I accidentally pressed a button, but I made it. And I don't care why. But it still wasn't over. Next came the challenge of entering Ruta's head. Normally you'd just glide in, but of course... Isn't it cool how I didn't even have to say it? So instead, I jumped down from the trunk and looked for a loophole when I found one. Literally, there was an actual hole. And as the rule goes, if it works, we take it. And we don't ask questions. But hang on, why is there a... Emma! In all seriousness though, I actually have no idea why this hole is here. You open a different one to solve the puzzle in this chamber, and it's only wide enough to fit Link, and it lands him right in the center of the room. That has to be deliberate, right? Maybe the devs knew I'd play this one day and felt sorry for the previous troll. Guess they had 2020 vision! And with Water Blight defeated, it was time to head for Death Mountain, which posed no real threat until... this point here. I'm trying to jump between these rocks to rescue Yunobo, but the jump's a little too far, so I eventually realized that a bomb's location remains saved, even if Link falls in lava, which means I can kill myself to plant one, and then detonate it on the next try. But that didn't quite work. And not just because of the distance. When Link gets hurt, he ragdolls, meaning he can't quickly land or grab onto surfaces, which means even if I landed in the center of this platform, I still would have fallen off. So there's only one solution. Stack rail carts on top of each other to create a platform, of course. It's genius. The only problem is carts despawn if you fall in lava, so I just need to be careful not to... Well, you know what they say. I got nothing. To make things worse, on round 2 I realized there was a ramp there all along, so I didn't even have to do that. Am I just blind to the easiest way of doing everything? I get the carts into position, but like always, there's still another problem. The lava is deeper than both of them stacked on top of each other. But I brought these things all the way here twice. I am not going to let that be for nothing. I figured out I can drop one, freeze it, and then jump across. And yeah, I technically touched lava here, but if it works, we take it. But I never want to see a jump like that again. Okay, this one wasn't that dramatic. I soon remembered that when Link pulls out his shield, he jumps further. There's an exploit speedrunners use where they use this to go even further somehow. But I don't know how to do that, and a basic shield jump is good enough for me. Or it would if Link didn't bounce off the ground when he lands. Because, again, nothing is easy! Oh, except the memories. You just walk up to them and you get them. They're so easy, I'm not even gonna mention them again, that's it. But I figured it out. If Link puts his shield away again, he can then land normally, and even grab onto walls. I call this movement of jumping, pulling out the shield before quickly putting it away, shield hopping. And sure, you could argue tons of other people invented this first, but did they make a YouTube video about it? I don't think so. Shield hopping. TM. And with this new power, I reached Shinobo in, time, and finally got to fight Vah Ruta, which sucks. Not because of the dungeon, that part's easy, but because of Link gliding in the cutscene. We went through all that trouble not to glide even once, and he just does it. Why? To avoid drowning in lava? That never seemed to bother you before, mate. Even if you just jump on Radani's back, the initial fall won't kill you. Why do you think I got you all those hearts? But on the upside, I beat the dungeon in no time because there is no point where you're expected to glide. So I activated all 4 terminals and beat Fireblight in no time. And with that, only one beast remains, but as you can probably guess, I've been avoiding this one. Vah Medoh. Even the quest before it requires you to glide. But as you should probably know by now, if there's a loophole, no matter how small, we'll find it and exploit the hell out of it. We only have to destroy 5 targets for Teba to trust us, so just bring a bunch of enduring dishes and we can shoot 5 targets before running out of stamina, and more importantly, without gliding. Only problem is after destroying the 5th target, Link automatically glides. But I don't think this counts since I wasn't required to glide to beat the minigame, so... Transition! Now it's time to fight Medoh, and you're probably thinking this will be hard, and I gotta say, you're completely wrong! This is easy! I can just ride on Teba's back! Who even needs a glider when I've got my own private jet? Okay, Quantus, let's do this!
It's up to you!
Oh, Link automatically pulls out the glider. Ah, jeez. Okay, so there are 2 problems we need to work around. Firstly, Link using the glider. Luckily, we can solve this by spamming the bow button to cancel the animation only 1 frame in. This doesn't count, since the glider only starts, well, gliding from the 8th or 9th frame. Meaning, although Link technically holds the glider here, he is not ascending, and therefore, not gliding. The much bigger problem, however, is the Divine Beast itself. We have to shoot all 4 of these turrets without moving from this starting point, including one all the way on the other wing that we can barely see. But luckily, 1 turret is right in front of us, and the other 2 are well within range, but the last turret is like a kilometer away. I actually tried finding Medoh's wingspan, but no one's measured that for some reason, so I'm just guessing, but it wouldn't surprise me if I'm right, or even underestimating. Anyway, this shot is impossible! You have to aim so much higher that you can't even see Vah Medoh when you fire. Each turret takes 2 hits, so I have to fire 2 arrows in the exact same place. But since I'm falling, the trajectory changes between each shot. But apparently, that's not hard enough, because Vah Medoh is also moving, and it takes seconds for an arrow I fired to hit. Meaning, even if I aim perfectly twice, by the time the arrow gets to where I aimed, the turret has moved. Even that would be manageable if it wasn't so disorientating. I can't even tell if I'm close. Look at this. Can you tell if I just missed or completely missed? Because I can't. Am I making progress? Is all this for nothing? I have no goddamn clue. I wasn't even sure it was possible. So to find out, I glided. And I did it. I proved it was possible. Or so I thought. See, I fired from as far up as the updraft takes you, but Teba drops you off much lower. Meaning, I haven't proven anything. And after hours and hours of shooting and watching previous attempts to see if I even came close, I finally gave up. It was just too hard. So I went to Hyrule Castle to beat Ganon and settled for the bad ending. But then I started thinking about how I could trade my hearts for more stamina. Start with the hardest shot instead of leaving it for last, about resetting every time I fell so that Medoh and Link are in a consistent position, and about aiming even higher, and after failing and resetting, I started to realize roughly where I had to aim, and eventually, I hit it. And by rewatching the footage, I saw where I aimed and used the clouds to consistently find that spot. It actually became easier than I thought it could be. And after finally destroying that turret, I fell to my death. Which has no consequence since Teba catches you when the damage you've dealt to the turrets is saved. Even the position of the arrows in midair stays saved. Meaning, once you've lined up a shot and fired, nothing can stop it from landing. Even running out of stamina and falling out of the sky. So yeah, I glided here just to see if the arrow hit, but I fired them without gliding. So I still proved you can board Vah Medoh without gliding. Or rather, I would have if it weren't for someone. Seriously, Link, you had one job! But now you're wondering, how can you activate all 4 terminals in a dungeon based on wind? Or something less specific in way fewer words? Well, it doesn't matter. 3 of the terminals aren't even designed to utilize gliding, so there's only 2 we have to worry about. The first of which requires you to glide across this gap. So I just tilted the wing and ran up the wall. It's that easy. There's also a chest in this room you can't get by wall running, so I just shield hopped. Looks like this dungeon will be a piece of... Okay, stop. You've already seen this before. I'm not just gonna keep making the same joke over and over. Okay, so I obviously can't make that jump. But I remembered the room inside that wing has a metal ball and a window, which of course means... Easy. Take 2. Despite it actually working, it just wasn't that easy, so I entered the chamber to look for other ways in. I noticed that while the wing is slanted, Link can stand on this ledge here and walk inside, so I tried again, aiming for that spot. But Link just can't go that far. And I wish that were the only problem. It's the whole trajectory of the jump that makes it difficult. It might look like I'm close here, but trust me, I'm not. Look how skinny that part of the ledge is. If running straight at it, yeah, Link could probably land here. But from the side? To get there, Link has to go far enough to the right to avoid the column, but not go too far and land here, where he would immediately slide off and fall to his death. So, we'd either have to perform a curved jump, which I'm pretty sure is impossible, or line ourselves up perfectly, except, oh wait, we don't even know if we can jump this far. I'm not saying this jump is impossible, but it's definitely improbable. So after 50-something tries, I gave up. I didn't see a reason to keep going. I mean, this wasn't even the only problem. The dungeon expects you to only use this updraft to reach the main terminal, cause there's no other way up. So even if we could reach the final terminal, it would still mean nothing but... Okay. This terminal is now the only thing standing between us and the true ending. I was not just going to give up. So I tried making the ball fall towards the entrance by shooting, bombing, and jumping on it, and when that didn't work, I tried jumping from this platform instead. And when that didn't work, I started tilting the wing up and down to make the entrance move towards me in midair. But after trying, I just could not make it. I just had to cut my losses and move on. We couldn't beat Medoh, but let's find out if we can beat Ganon without gliding. I'm sure there's no massive problem we'll encounter there. But before we get to that, we have to kill Windblight in a depressingly short amount of time. Seriously, how did the champions die to any of these guys? And with that, it's finally time to find out if it's possible to beat Breath of the Wild without gliding. Of course! You just had to do it! one last time. Just couldn't resist. Could you? And then Ganon felt the wrath of all all three champions. Even his health bar rubs it in my face. But gliding obviously isn't essential to beating Ganon, so I think it's clear you can fight him with no real issues. The same cannot be said, however, for Beast Ganon. We've all used the paraglider to deliver the final blow, but did we have to? Okay, I'm in position, and I'm just gonna shoot him. Uh-oh. So Ganon will only keep his eye open if Link is in midair, but we don't have to glide to be in midair. With a horse, we can just jump off and pull out our bow, and the rest was history. So, can you beat Breath of the Wild without gliding? Yes! Can you get the true ending? Probably not. But who would have thought you only had to glide once to get it? I still see this as an absolute... That's it. Unsubscribe and dislike this video. And if it turns out there's some super easy way in here, I'm gonna kill myself. Goodbye! Hey, it's me, back from the dead, like Jesus! Here's some more Zelda videos for you to watch, you know, if you want to. I mean, I would want to, if I were you. And I've died, so that makes me very wise. And if you don't click on a video, then I would have died for nothing. Oh yeah, and I'll fade out of existence or something. You're still here? Look, I'm literally ceasing to exist. Quick, click on it!